Welcome to the Starting Over podcast training episode. And this episode, we are looking at leap/climb. If actually reading it, really just sitting here looking at it, I always say leap climb. And I think it's like, oh, yeah, that's just like one word, but it's leap/climb. Just something interesting I noticed while looking at my pack and paying attention. All right, in this point, we're going to look at building a team for leap climb. Now, no, we're focusing on this power as being a main element of our team, okay? So, what are some of the distinct advantages of it? Well, let's read the power off first, and then we can see it a little bit more clearly. Leap climb. Give this character a move action and move it up to its speed value. This character can use movement, pretty much just ignoring almost every type of terrain, including figures, for their movement. When you give this character a close combat action, it may target a character regardless of the target's elevation. Now, one thing Leap Climb doesn't allow you to do is just get over walls that are indoors. You can't do that. So there are distinct advantages and disadvantages to that. It does have its difference than phasing teleport. So let's start looking at our advantages of Leap Climb. All right, well, first off, it allows us pretty much a free breakaway. We can get away and ignore characters, no problem, okay? The other thing that it can allow us to do is, now this is just for movement purposes, is that it can allow us to ignore hindering terrain. Now, we can't combine it with something like, running shot or charge by saying, oh, look, I have leap climb, so I ignore hindering terrain when I do running shot if I'm grounded. But leap climb does give us a distinct advantage in the sense that it allows us to freely break away and to get to our next destination unhindered. And that is what a lot of people really just underestimate with Leap Climb. Leap Climb figures are some of the best tie-up figures in the game. Going on, the other thing that we have to look at with Leap Climb is being able to hit other characters on higher elevations. Okay, and so let's just read that one line again. When you give this character a close combat action, it may target a character regardless of the target's elevation. This means that, let's say, for some odd reason, you're on elevation 1 and the map is drawn so that elevation 1 is right adjacent to elevation 5. And on top of elevation 5 is Odin, and on the bottom is super-powered Spider-Man with exploit weakness. Well, superpowered Spider-Man with Leap Climb can hit Odin with a close combat attack, and so that is great because we get to with a close combat action, regardless of the elevation, so we can hit Odin up on top. Okay. So we need to be mindful that in our positioning, we can get our opponents if they think like, oh, well, I'm on elevation 1 and he's on, elevation 2 and he can't do anything. Sorry, I mean, your figure's on elevation 1 and his character's on elevation 2. You'll think that, oh, well, nothing can happen to his figure, but because you have 0 range, but you can punch the daylights out of him. So there can be very, very cool combinations that you can do with this power. Okay, so let's look at what we can do with Leap Climb in a team building situation. Well, first off, we could say, hey, our major tie-up piece is going to have Leap Climb. It's going to allow us to get anywhere on the map. It'll allow us to hit characters on multiple elevations if they're adjacent to it. And not only that, we can always position that figure wherever we need it to be. Okay? So those are great options for Leap Climb. The other thing that we have to look at Leap Climb is that in our team composition that we don't really have to pack TK to maximize Leap Climb. We don't have to pack any sort of taxi or any sort of special spatial movement tactics. We can just simply deploy them. So for complication matters, leap climb is probably one of the simplest powers to build around and gives us the maximum efficiency. Now, the other thing that we need to be mindful with leap climb is that we most likely either A, want our leap climber to be able to make range combat attacks, or be able to dedicate them fully to a tie-up role. Now, the one major reason why I don't want us to really think about leap climb in a purely melee sense mode is that if another figure breaks away from you, your leap climb figure, you don't really have an ability to keep them there. Keep that opposing figure there. And then not only that, you can't retaliate if you really need to. So think about leap climb and range, even though that's a little bit rare category. Now, also one thing that people usually think about is leap climb and super strength. And leap climb and super strength is quite an interesting combination because it allows you to pick up an object while you're moving. So you can move as you're breaking away, yank that object out from underneath your opponent who is, sitting on top of an object to get stealth or get that +1 from range. So it gives you a little bit more added benefit to your character. So just think about that as another option. Okay. So that mostly, deals with leap climb. I want you to really think to yourself, how are you going to maximize it? How are you going to use it? And then I really want you to ask yourself, what type of maps can I maximize leap climb on my team? And I think those are going to be the best things that's going to help you during this training session. All right, I will see you in a couple of minutes or a couple of hours, depending on how your training session is going, as we look at phasing teleport.